Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to day 2 of the Atlantic Challenge Cup here in Treviso, Italy. This morning's session we have 2 matches. First is the girls' singles, then followed by a mixed doubles match. But first I'm going to bring the captains in to have a few words with them. Please give a big hand for Team USA, Mark Wilson, Alison Fisher. And Team Europe, Thomas Brickmanis. Well, of course, scoreline is a little bit of a gap, but if you take from yesterday evening, Mikael's 9-ball miss could have gone the other way, with the 2 guys with Ricky and with Caden. They had their chances as well, so that score could have been closer. I don't think you have anything to be sad about there, really. It's just a few points, and you can get some points on the board today. Is that your opinion?
Yeah, we had a few great matches there, few unforced errors, but we're hoping to build on that today. Could have been a lot closer. A couple of the matches were right. We were right neck and neck with them. So, you know, we've got a good attitude in the camp, and we've got some great players and good team spirit.
Well, the only thing I would have to add is that it's a great venue and our kids are excited, and I think they're going to pump up and come back today.
I think so too, because like I said, I mean, it was so close yesterday, a lot closer than the scoreline really gives, you know. A little bit of luck going your way, the turn will be today, don't you think?
Absolutely. We've came and we've seen what it takes now, and I think we're going to come back.
Okay, Thomas, 6-1 up, you must be feeling comfortable. Is there anything that you're worried about today?
Well, I am a bit worried. I see some signs of relaxation in our team, but you know, today is another day. Yesterday we played good and we won some good matches, but today everything starts from zero.
Yeah, I mean, like I said to the Americans there, I think you're a little bit fortunate with a scoreline of 6-1, so that could have gone another way. That would have been a different story, and today is a long day.
Oh yeah, it is for sure. So we're looking forward to play some great pool.
I think the American team, you actually have a very good team, and I know the scoreline doesn't reflect that, but I've seen some great shots from these guys and girls. It is a good team.
Yes, I'm very proud of them, and as we said, there's always good team spirit here, and we do have a very strong team this year.
They've just got to come out, relax, and enjoy themselves. I think there's going to be a few points on the board for Team USA today. So, shall we get ready?
Yes,
okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, to kick us off on day 2, the morning session, please give a big hand for USA's April Larson. And representing Team Europe, please give a big hand for me, Nguyen.
Good morning. Okay, just checking again. Jimmy? No. Okay.
April made a nice breakout shot there, and she didn't get rewarded, but she made a nice kick.
I don't hear me.
We have me, Nguyen, at the table.
Okay, she has a really tough shot here, and it wasn't easy for her.
I really think the bridging over the 5-ball didn't help her to be accurate. She's landed a missed shot, but it's going to be very tough for April to do much offensive from here. April looking at safety here. There is a double kiss if she tries to go with inside spin. She wisely chose outside spin, got some distance. So a quality effort there by April Larson. We expect a big match from April today. She practiced quite well. She was a little disappointed in herself yesterday, but now she's kind of settled down a little bit, Thomas.
Oh yeah, we were actually surprised. She missed quite a few shots yesterday, and we know the level of play of April. So, was it related to nerves, or what was wrong?
It wasn't nerves, no. One, she's just not familiar with this table, and then, the first day of the event, and just unsettled, I would say. But definitely got a little blood in her eye today, and I expect a great performance from her. Nice return safety there by me, Nguyen. This is one of those tough shots here to deal with. Great players extract themselves from these. Good shot there.
Just maybe she didn't want to hit the ball so thin, but it ended well for her.
Right.
So, Mark, it is really rare opportunity for me to talk about some other things, and not only what's actually happening here on the table. Just of course, we'll shoot some questions as soon as we have some opportunity. Tell me your opinion about the Team USA here. You of course you see the guys closer. In my opinion, this is a great team, but are you happy with selection and how it was done? Just tell the spectators about
100%. We had a training camp, and then I guess it's been about a month ago where we selected maybe 8 or 10 kids, and they came, and then we put them through a series of evaluation shots and some matches, and then kind of see what their attitude was. And from that, we even had a tournament that Ricky Evans won to earn a spot onto the team. Looked like a miscue there. No, what happened? That was bizarre. But anyway, each year, this is my second year, but each year you can see growth and see the inspiration. And so once we get a little bit more organized, the Europeans are miles ahead of us currently. But we're kind of following your lead, and hopefully we can surpass you at some point.
For sure, the gap is closing. At least for me, it looks this way. But of course, we are a little bit ahead of you. But I see a really well organized and well balanced team coming after us. We were a little bit unlucky yesterday not to convert a few points in your Team USA favor. So like Mikhail missed crucial 9 balls, so we goal doubles. could end a different way. So
Yeah, for me, I think maybe you could say we're a little bit unfortunate, but I think it's more the growing pains. Our players are just not experienced, and so they'll make real good shots and get right to the point where they could kind of get over the hump, but we're not quite over the hump yet, and we need exposure like this in order to become that type of a player where we would be equal footing with you guys. April made a nice shot on the 5, but then she rattled the 6.
oh, she tried to force the pocket a little bit to get a position on 7, and of course the table is much tighter than yesterday. The glove is wearing out, and that means the pockets are not accepting so good. I'm looking forward to see a safety play here. So hiding cue ball behind the 8 and 9. That's exactly what me is trying to do.
Looks like she did it pretty well. She certainly got the cue ball tangled up on the 9. That will not be easy, even if she does have a look at the 6.
And for our spectators, again, this is Thomas Brikmanis, coach Team Europe, and Mark Wilson, coach Team USA. Here in the booth, I mean, this is a perfect opportunity for you to ask some questions if you have them. Don't hesitate to put them in the comment in the EPBF Facebook page, so we will try to answer them. And of course, don't forget to share this stream with your friends. I mean, it's really important for the sport and for the youth to be seen. So please do that.
Yeah, as everybody knows, this is the future of the sport, and oftentimes it's easy to be complacent and not do those things where you share and grow. But if we had viewing parties, much like I've tried to implore that with the Mosconi Cup too, that people would buy the stream and support it at the local pool room and show the energy and the enthusiasm. That's the only way to capture a newer audience. Me's looking good here now on game number 1, routine 8 ball. I love her style. She's got the cue out to her side, and she gets through the ball really nicely. Confident player.
Well, for sure, me can shoot really good. So she is quite confident making the long shots.
Mm-hmm. She has a very compact stroke, and that's one of the things I admire about most of your players. You do not see excessive wasted energy in their stroke delivery, which contributes to consistency. Anything will make it some of the time, but most of your players don't have idiosyncrasies in there that are counterproductive, and so that adds up to consistency under pressure.
Mark, I know that you are also working in the university. You have a billiard class in Lindenwood University?
We have an actual billiards team, which is much like going out for a different sport. And it's not a class. And they built a specific arena just for this. And so we practice. We were practicing 3 days a week. The schools had some uncertainty and setbacks, so we're down to 1 day a week now. So things are not assured for the future, but nevertheless, we've had this our 8th year. We've made some great strides for the sport's sake too, not just Lindenwood.
How many universities have billiard classes?
Well, there's listed 130, but most of them are clubs, and most of them are kind of they're not funded. It's just kids that when they don't have homework on Tuesday night, they try to go hit balls on a poor table. Where we actually have top of the line diamond tables in a special arena that's set up, and you have to be actually a team member to even go in there. And we conduct our practices and matches from there.
So you actually play other universities?
We do. We play. There's a few schools, and then we play a lot of club teams mainly because there's so much more available. The other schools don't have funding either. We have modest funding, but the other schools don't have coaches or funding of any kind, and so a lot of local all-star teams or league teams, we will just play matches against them. But then we do play some big schools too. So here early goings, you can see April struggling a little bit, and she scratched on the brake, which suggests that she was not careful with her aim, but took it a little bit for granted, and that's her thing. Sometimes she will get just a little bit erratic, and then other times she'll get into a flow or a rhythm where she just hits every ball perfect.
Well, it's a morning match, so it's always harder to start playing in the morning, especially the first match. So to see the body still is a little bit in sleep. So even we try to get the players up early, it's we're still sleeping in some way. So
I think also, though, especially April's on a part of the Lindenwood team, we don't accept excuses, so we don't care to hear that. We just don't accept them, period, no matter what. And plus, she's been down and warmed up. It's just, I think it's a little bit more inexperienced than I think, that she was just a little bit casual and maybe not as focused as I'd like to see her be.
talking about experience, I mean, April is one of the most experienced players in your team, so
Yep.
The lack of experience shouldn't be a problem here.
Yeah, did I say that she had a lack of experience? I didn't mean it that way. Well, lack of experience at a high level. She can beat bad players playing halfway, but now you got to crank it up, and especially against the competition that Europeans bring. A little different deal.
Just another question, as you mentioned it before, you said Europeans are much ahead of you, and probably the kids think the same. How do we feel about it? Is it like we don't have a chance here, or are we actually having some team spirit and we will try to do our best? How is it
It's
within the team?
Mixed bag, and April in particular, I think she's particularly aware of the players like Victor and is it Sojin?
Sanyin.
Okay, Sanyin. Okay, she's well aware that they're actually formidable opponents for Moscone Cup type players. So I think there's a little bit of maybe we're overmatched type, especially coming off of last year where we were shocked that I wasn't aware of the level of competition, the differential, because that was my first year involved. But and then there's some players that are a little bit cocky and arrogant because they played with poorer players, and they assume that they're really good until they find out what really good looks like. And then they're like, oh boy, these guys are good. So yeah, a little bit of a mixed bag in answer to your question. If there's respect and appreciation, then maybe there's even a little bit of could we even do it type of attitude, which that's never been me, but nevertheless, that's where we're at. We're at the ground floor, just starting out. Big shot here for April. Pretty smooth transition.
We can hear the crowd supporting. I mean, the getting first points are so important, right? Like yesterday,
Yeah.
The first match was a success for Team USA, and it gave some boost. Yeah, you started to believe, and of course, in the second match, we have some chances.
We feel like we had chances in every set yesterday. And
For sure
so,
you did.
So in that regard, even though we're up against a super tough team, we feel that little spark that, hey, we could do this. And I was talking this morning to him, and I was saying adversity does not build character. Adversity reveals character. And we find out who you are when you're down 6-1. How good do you play? Or when you're behind in the match here. If you're a quitter and give up, or if you got some fight. If April pulls this match off, it will really help the team spirit too, because you're right on that cusp, but where it can totally get away from you, where you still have a glimmer of hope to at least make a reasonable showing. So we kind of need April to come through big time here, much like Ariana did yesterday. Ariana is probably our least experienced player in that first match, but she won the last game, and it was not that easy of a run out for someone that's nervous and uncertain. And she just came through with flying colors and really helped everybody to start to believe.
Oh,
Boy.
this is tricky push out.
It got away from her. She definitely didn't want to pin it inside the pocket, and almost scratched. She's smiling. She recognizes that she way overran the mark of where she wanted to be. Now, where does Me come from?
Me is from Sweden. She lives like 2 hours out of Stockholm.
Been some great players from Sweden. I remember Tom Storm,
Oh, yeah.
Marcus Schmatt too, right?
Right, he's
And,
Swedish.
yeah.
Oh, many great Swedes. You know, Sweden and Germany found an EPBF. So these two nations actually played in the first couple European championships. Just two nations, Swedes and Germans. Not so many of them actually playing now, but still a lot of talents. Like Daniel Tangut, who played the first ACC in Austria, and you know, I'm pretty sure the Swedish people are very proud of me being here. She's here because she won the European 9-ball last year, and me actually secured the spot for the next year's ACC, also winning the 9-ball in Europe. And it wasn't easy. It's quite a competition between the girls in Europe. So
Well, that's good.
she really literally jumped on the last wagon of the train because she didn't perform well in the first three disciplines. First two disciplines, like 10-ball and 8-ball didn't went well. She didn't get 2 medals, I think, and she was able to win the gold in 9-ball.
Well, this is a really interesting example of what you're talking about, because she did not make a good push out, but then was able to make a 3-cushion kick, which that takes a lot of experience on these tables. So that suggests that she possibly even plays some other aspects of cue sports, and then has now played some good positions here to get herself into a spot where she might still be able to win this game from this one visit to the table.
Yeah, she tried a shot left-handed now, which also shows that she has been taught a lot of different ways of shot making.
Seemed like she felt a little bit rushed on that too. Maybe the time clock was running down because it did not look like her usual tempo.
Speaking about the shot clock, I've seen Americans a little bit struggling yesterday because of the shot clock. Do you think it influenced a lot? Probably not used to play with shot clock.
I didn't feel that way so much. I did notice a couple times, but for the most part, I thought they were pretty comfortable with it, and we did try to train with it, but we also only had 1 3-day camp, so you can only do so much at that point. Okay, so this is a big shot here for April, and this is the one that she missed yesterday, but this is the one where she really has to get zeroed in right now. And we'll be able to tell if she has a final pause here and a pretty smooth backswing, which she knows to do, but sometimes doesn't. See how she's locked in there? Yeah, that was good. So she's with it today. And now I'm confident that it's going to be a much better performance than the first 2 racks.
Yeah, I mean, the crucial probably moment when she scratched on a 9-ball and the doubles, doubles, that was really unfortunate. And it wasn't such a big risk to scratch, but still. Maybe a little bit too much power and the cue ball went to the pocket.
Well, it was the cue ball was on the back rail and the 9-ball was over here. And on the tables that we play on, that doesn't arc and loop into the corner. So she maybe miscalculated, but she hit the 9-ball so pure, I couldn't fault her on it. Great shot, but that was, of the errors that she made, that was the least one that was felt like was bad. Good shot there, April.
Yeah, so it looks like April is going to secure another point for Team USA. For that, of course, she needs to pocket the 9-ball.
Good job. 2-1 now is our score. One of the things there with me in particular is that she got turned around where she had to play a left-handed shot. And that might be a spot where maybe think about go ahead and playing safe. If you're iffy at all, And the whole key to 9-ball, winning world-class 9-ball, is unforced errors. And she wouldn't have necessarily had to make an open miss like that if she was uncertain about making it, because she missed it by enough of a margin. It must have been too iffy left-handed. If it rattles, then you can kind of live with that. But when you miss it by 6 inches, then you have to say, hey, that maybe wasn't the right shot. And I guess a little bit of experience on your side too, just play, yeah.
You can see how many Americans are watching this match from the likes on Facebook after April just made an animal.
Oh yeah, she has a big following. It's so funny with these kids, and she has fans all over the world and all over the U.S. already, because she's been pretty prolific in a lot of the Q side. But I was laughing today. I could write a great speech and I'd put it out there and I'd get 4 likes. She could write that she dropped her napkin at breakfast and she'd have 4,000 likes. So, that's like, okay, here we go. But, yeah, kids love her because she's always cheerful. Yeah, this is a funny spot here because the 6 and the 9, and then the 2 and the 4, and the 3's on the other side of the table, so if she plays the combination, the 2 drifts down by the 2 and or the 9 and the 6. So she's going to play it softly. And then, okay, great job there. She's got a nice angle to slide across the table now. She was able to avoid having to bridge over the 8-ball, which was another good component to her shot. Looks like she's just going to slide over there between the 9 and the 7 rather than trying to get on top of the 7 and maybe risk the side pocket. Well, now she's queuing down like she is going above the... Nope, she went forward. Grazed the 9. That was not in the plan.
Oh, maybe it was. Maybe she wanted to touch an animal and to spread the cluster. Not sure. Maybe not. It's hard to tell. Now she has a tough shot on the free, particularly because the cue ball is sort of close to rail.
Right. She had to play it with slow pace. I know she didn't, so maybe the 5 does clear the 7. I thought the 7 obstructed it. Looks like she has enough here on the overhead. I'll tell you, the EPBF, they do some things really great. I couldn't believe how nice the arena was with all the electronics and how modern, up-to-date. And then here we're having a streaming match with TV quality cameras, including an overhead and commentary. Come on, first class. A very heady shot there. She's trying to play safe, recognizing it was going to be tough.
Yeah, she just touched the 5 ball a little bit too thick, so couldn't hide the cue ball behind the 9. Well, I mean, it was a good intention to play safe here. There was no natural path on the 6, and the 6 is hiding. From certain angle, you can make the pot to the ball, but you need to have a good position on the 6.
I would like to see April over, thin like this. 3 cushions around trying to tangle it up on the 6. Great job there. She fell just a little bit short, but a great attempt.
It was a great attempt, and she is a little bit lucky to show a fine ball. Okay, here is another question. I heard some stories about you and Alison Fisher meeting in some first Moscone appearance.
Oh yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit, because I'm
Happily.
pretty sure no one knows this old story. So
Well, as me overcuts it, and does she bank that in? Yep. Anyway, so we played the first Moscone Cup, and all of us American guys were absolutely smitten with her because she's cute and doesn't miss a ball and has the English humor, and so it was interesting, and we had a fun time, and then ended up that we won. And so our bus taking us back to the team party with Europe and U.S. Well, all these drunken fans filled the bus, and the bus driver couldn't do anything, and I couldn't get on the bus. So ended up I had to ride with Allison, which was like a extra bonus. And so to this day, she doesn't really like it if I tell this, but I will anyway. She was driving a Mini Cooper, and you can imagine how good I fit in the Mini Cooper. But anyway, when I went to get in it, it was like a dumpster on wheels. I mean, there was debris and soda cans. I'm like, Allison, good Lord. Oh, don't tell anybody, because she's so demure and pleasant, cheerful, little debutante.
So this first Mosconi was in Europe or USA back then?
It was in England, in London. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 1994. And at that time, the U.S. had a decided edge in the, well, we didn't know it was the first one, but they used some snooker players, and then it was two women. There was Allison and Franziska Stark from Germany, and the U.S. had Jeanette Lee and Vivian Villarreal, and then we had 6 other men players.
So it's very much like ACC now.
Mm-hmm. Well,
only less players here.
Yeah, yeah, and it's morphed over the years. They changed it. We played longer matches back then, but it wasn't as intense, and it's evolved, I guess. Everybody learns what makes it exciting, and now we got that. I'll tell you the truth, the American girls did so well that they were just gonna play the girls against the girls, but then we got out to a big lead, and Barry Hearn and company changed the format, and ended up our girls played some of the European guys, and they won there too.
Okay.
If you were to ever look back at the records, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Good shot there by April.
Oh, yeah, this
It was really fun and exciting. When you say Mosconi Cup, they say, "Oh, you're going to the Mosconi Cup." Well, it was the first one, so you kind of think, well, I guess like a big tournament, right? You don't know, and they, oh, well, it's bigger than that, but you can't conceive of it. And then you go there, and it's 4 days of live TV, and then you're just blown away. And as hard as I worked preparing, had I known it was like that, I would have worked even harder. You just don't. You just, I don't know. It was fascinating that it was anything that big. You couldn't even conceive of it. Well, me there got distance on this, but she's left an open shot. And certainly not an easy shot, and not an easy shot to get position on.
So, is it true then that Mosconi has 25 years anniversary this year? If it started in 1994, it should be 25 years.
26. This was
26.
the 26, yeah.
Okay.
And that's how you'll know how old Skylar Woodward is. He was born the same year the first Mosconi Cup. That's how I keep track of his age. I always say, your mom was watching it, and she was getting ready to have you, and she didn't want to put a lot of effort into your name. She thought, well, Sky TV, I'll call him Skylar. You know, it's like, which I don't think is true, but anyway, I tell him that. So. Good shot there on the 6. Now April's got to come back with yet another good shot. Good focus. She raised up a little bit. She muscled it in, however. Good job there, April. That's one thing she does have, is some pretty good toughness. And this is kind of one of those big games, because if she comes up with a couple big shots here and steals this game, it's definitely going to knock down Me's confidence level a little bit. Good shot. Real smooth cueing action there, and she stayed down and got through the ball well. Remarkably, April won the National Collegiate Championship last year, but she beat our other player in the finals. And our other player is her counterpart from Minnesota named Taylor Hansen, who's also played in this. And the two of them play together, and they're both, got huge followings, and they both play great. And they practice with us often, and I can never tell which one's better. Because the year before, Taylor won the national championship. This year, April beat her in the finals, but it was by 1 game only. And so I just refer to them as Thunder and Lightning, and I put them up against all the other college boys too. They can beat anybody, but everybody's like totally smitten with Thunder and Lightning because they're cute and don't look like they can play like that, but then they're lethal, so. And I'm very proud of them because it's great to show that, gender really doesn't have to make a difference.
I also know that you had some European player in your.
Oh yeah, we've had a number. Recently, we had Andreas Madsen for 2 years. He's from Denmark, and he's a pure killer. You know, he plays. Well, he trains regularly with Niels and can hold his own at times. So Niels Fine, I'm talking about from. Where is he from? Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he lives in Denmark. He's married to a Danish girl, so.
I see. And so Andreas won the national championship the last 2 years. He's the current reigning national champion. Very good there. Good decision. 3-1's our score. U.S. in front. This would be good because if we could win a couple points here early today, I think our kids will get the belief back. You know, they still, I'm not saying they've give up, but if you go 2 more points behind, it's easy to get some quit at that point. Where if you get a couple back, now you don't want to be the person to let them down. So good hit, April. Didn't turn out great, but it was a good hit, and that's all she could really do. Now this is a pretty interesting position play here because of that 7 ball and trying to negotiate that. If you get in behind the 7, you can easily get behind the 6 and the 9 as well. And it's not. If you can just get position on the 3 here, the rest of the rack lay is pretty straightforward. So this is gonna require some work. Yeah, she went right into the 7. Now things, and then now the 7's collided with the 9.
Well, the balls are not spread anymore.
Right.
There's a few problems here now.
If she, I think really the right shot here is just to hit the 3 thickly and put it on the end rail and try to work the cue ball down table behind the 5 and 8. Oh, good decision. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's somebody that's pretty heady play that shot rather than try to force a bank or something when they're not really available to win the game from. That's minimizing unforced errors right there. It's not exactly what April wanted, but she did not dislodge the 7 ball, and so well, it was a conservative play. Probably winning decision. The 5 and the 8's a problem. The 7 and 9's a problem. Now the 7 could easily come apart with the 6, so that's not such a big deal. But you still have to get there, and there's a long ways to go. Get from the 3 to the 4 through the 5 and 8. Well, that's going to solve everything there. She leaves a shot. Might not have combination, perhaps.
Oh, this is a tough combination. Possible, of course, but.
Yeah, pretty thin. And April does have an open look at the side.
I mean, the safety option is probably much better here.
Yeah. Looks like me can see the edge of the 3. Hard to tell from where we're at. She's gonna she's gonna half mass say this, or is she going to the side rail and bending it back in? No, she was able to hit it straight on.
For me, it seemed like she can see the edge of a free ball.
Yeah, clearly now we can see that she could at least hit some of it.
She was trying to avoid a scratch, probably, because if she played with soft shot, there was a risk of scratching. So. Okay, not an easy shot here, but still possible to clip the 4 ball onto the rail. And that is what April was trying to do. She just missed it. You can see she cannot believe what happened, just shaking her head.
This is a tricky one. Even if you hit it, you're not going to get much separation unless you really tag it square with high velocity. which makes the accuracy of the kick quite a bit. Well, that's what she tried.
My observation from yesterday matches that Team USA is not very comfortable with kicking balls. Maybe because we don't feel rails as good as Europeans, and Europeans feel really rails much better, and we are much more comfortable to play the kick shots, even from
Right.
good snookers.
I would say that the American kids do not get the degree of training that they need, but they also don't have an appreciation for the other side of the game. They want the ball pocketing, jump shots, big break, but when it comes to the finesse part of this thing, they're not willing to put in the time that it takes. They wouldn't be willing to play caroms or three-cushion billiards because they don't appreciate it. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. And so consequently, when we get under pressure, it shows up. That's why we kick poorly. That being said, if we had more competitions like this, they would see that there's the other part of the game that has great value as well. We tend to be sloppy, lazy. just to be honest, by comparison, there's not the degree of discipline that I see within the European kids or the Asian kids for that matter.
Well, I mean, the kids are the same all around the world, so it maybe the grass looks greener on
Maybe.
the other side, you know, just
Yeah. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of that too, but
oh yeah,
yeah,
this,
that was a devastating open miss.
I mean that is really not good. That is an easy shot, an easy 3 balls left still.
It's not the game you gave away, but it's the psychological thing, you know. And now April's gonna have won. What will this be? Her 4th game, I think, consecutive. And it's one that she really shouldn't, you know, didn't deserve to win. Very good. All of our team respects April because she's got that history of being in these events. And she recently just knocked out Allison Fisher only a week ago at a big pro tournament. And Allison told me, she goes, Mark, I was playing well. April just played a set and I just couldn't do anything to get away from her. And so she does have that high gear. She can also look erratic at times, but this is the life of a college student that doesn't just get to devote to their time to playing pool only. And so her parents came over from Minnesota, which is pretty cool, you know, to make the trip over here. Real positive people. And she grew up in a pool playing family. That's a family that grew up playing league pool, as well as Taylor Hansen. They're both from Minnesota. And that was the arch rivalries ever since they've been 7, 8 years old. Those two have been the top 2 around that area. They're still competitive today, but then I like it because sometimes they kind of look after each other, where in the past maybe there was a little ego and sometimes there's a little friction there, but now they're like sisters.
Well, it's quite usual to see the big rivalry become good friends. It's like Roger and Nadal, right? Rafael. So we are good pals, but on the tennis court, it's like our biggest rivalry ever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the tactical timeout. So I will be off for 2 minutes, and I'll be back. Just try to talk with me about your game.
Yep. Yeah, I'll handle things here. How about that?
Okay.
All right. We're certainly glad everybody's tuned in for this, and I hope everybody will share it on Facebook. It's a first-class event. Well, I guess we're back, Thomas. Thomas took a momentary break, but anyway. April Larson leading and breaking at 4-1. Now, that looked to be a good break, but that's not exactly what she was trying to do. She wanted to cut the one ball just a little bit. We're racking the 9 on the spot. And so she hit it just a little squarer than anticipated. So I know she missed her target in the practice room. She was trying to make the one and the wing ball both. Mia's back. Got a pretty interesting Scotch doubles pairing coming up for Team USA. It's going to be Lucas Werner and Ariana Lynch be our next matchup. Lucas is a phenomenal young talent, has a big power stroke, pretty fearless shot maker, a very heady player, tremendous break. And Ariana is our female rookie, and she's been playing very well, and I watched her in the practice room warm up, and she looked pretty sharp. Not an easy shot to hold, so she has to pound it to come across. An inside spin, that was a high quality shot right there to get the cue ball back where it's at now. This is one of those pivotal moments in the match. This is not an easy layout to negotiate, as you can see by the first shot that she just played there. But if she could capture this, it would certainly renew some confidence that's been lost a little bit in the last couple games and take away some of that momentum that April now has. Okay, she had to play the cue ball off the 9 there, and it was distracting just enough that she overcut it. That's one of those shots that you really have to be single-minded about. April's only got the thin cut here, so I think she'll just rub the 3 lightly and try to pin it to the center of the end rail and bring the cue ball all the way down table. Good shot, good shot. That's world-class pool right there. Good decision, good execution. Now she has the upper hand with the distribution of the balls, and Mia's going to have to do something special here. If she tries to back cut thin the 3 ball and barely nick it, one, you can miss the entire ball trying to do it properly, but that 6 ball looms large over there. I don't know if she can see enough of it. If she see a lot of it, she could bank it down table. Yeah, that's what she tried to do. An incredible job there, too. Now it looks like April can either half mass A or maybe just hit Noah. She's completely obstructed good view here on the overhead. So she's got her jump cue out. She figures to hit this ball. Appears that Mia can take this shot on. Just enough of it sticking out that she can cut it in. That was a terrific shot there, threading between the rail, the 5, and the 6. She has to go with inside spin and come around 3 rails. Well, no, she's digging down like she's going to draw it back. I don't think she can cut it in from where she's at. Interesting. She's looking at trying to bank that across the table for a safety. Just thin safe.
Oh, that was a nice safety shot here.
I think April can easily jump this one in. That was conservative, but probably needed to be a bit more aggressive there. And unlike the last one where April figured to hit the ball, this time she figures to make the ball. She's gotten fortunate here. Left it long. There might be a gap, but maybe not. No. I mean, he's going to have to jump this.
So you can see how everyone is comfortable with jump cues. I mean,
Yeah.
like probably in 1994, nobody even knew jump shots are available, or we were.
Right, yeah. Was not a big shot. She made a nice pass at that. Truthfully, us old school guys really don't care for the jump cue. And it's a crowd builder, and so for that reason we tolerate it, but it's not really what we think of a pool. If you jump with a full cue, which you can do to some degree, but it takes away some of the tactical side of the game, and it gets it more into the fireworks part of the game.
Oh.
Big roll there for April.
Okay.
Now,
That's a game changer, right?
well, it is, but sometimes you feel a little remorse or guilt about that's not what you played. And so it's really not good fortune unless you go ahead and win the game from there. So we try to emphasize that you're going to have to suffer the liability of that sometimes. So that's where you got to get that killer instinct when you catch a break like that to make the most of it.
She maybe is a little bit too straight on a 6 here.
Super challenging shot here, and this will be interesting. This is where you can see if her mechanics, if she's spot on, she'll stay pretty still and deliver the cue. And then if you see her jerk or have a real fast backswing, you know she's frightened. Good pause there. Slow back. Oh, yeah. Nice hit. Got it a little better than she actually thought. She hit effective spin. She wanted to stop about 2 feet short of that mark. So now she's going to have to do the same type of a thing where she stays real still and be smooth. Big difference here. If she can make this and win the game, it'll be 5-1. If she misses this and gives up the game, it'll be 4-2. And that's quite a difference at this stage of the match.
Very
Good
nice shot.
tenacity. Yeah, good tenacity. Now she's got to make yet a third consecutive super tough shot.
She's smiling because the things are still difficult till the very end, right?
Yes.
And for some reason, we players always miss the 9 ball. Although it's just the same round ball as all others, but because it's deciding ball, it's extra pressure, right?
We assign a different value to it.
And she just missed it by a bit. But she left a very, very long and tough shot for me. No?
100%. Yeah, this is missable by elite pros, so. Pretty good stroke. Just missed it, hit it heavy.
And nothing is easy for April here.
No, but the little bit of the pressure's off now because it's kind of a free chance. She thought maybe she lost the game with the last shot, so now she can kind of reclaim this. Makes it a little bit easier to put a good stroke on a tough shot. Good job there. You know, over the last 2 years, April has had the opportunity to play a lot of pool with Andreas Madsen, who's a tremendous player, as you know, and it's definitely toughened her up some because Andreas doesn't give you those second chances. When you miss that first time ball that April did, he catches that in almost all the time. So when she gets that second chance, she's not used to it, so it helps her. 5-1's our score. April Larson in front. That will do wonders for my team. She can go ahead and win this last rack. Yesterday, Shane Tyree was saying that he looked out here and saw me. And he said I looked nervous, you know. But what it is when you care about your players and you know what they're going through, you want them to do well. Not so much because we need to win the match, but just because for them, you know, for growth. And of course, you know, you're passionate about it, so yeah, you get kind of nervous about it.
For sure, you are more relaxed here with me in
Yes,
commentatory
yeah,
booth.
for sure. This is more my domain. Tough shot there for me. So it was a nice pass at it. It was one of those spots where it's not easy to play safe. Sometimes you just have to shoot, and that was maybe that time. And it did have a reward because the 3 goes past the 8. So she could have got out. Tell you another thing that's interesting here in the background on my monitor, you see the parents of Jan, okay? Yeah. And we kind of only halfway communicate because I have a hard time understanding what they're saying exactly, but they're very nice. But this morning Jan was very concerned about him because he couldn't find them, and he came to me and asked, and I could see he was quite disturbed that he wanted to know that I saw him at breakfast, which I had, and where they were. But it kind of gives you, it tells you who the kid is a little bit, that he's worried about his parents. And I said, I think they maybe just went shopping. He didn't think they did, but anyway, that's what turned out to happen.
Oh. So
Interesting arrangement here. I don't know if the 2-6 combination goes. It may.
for me, it looks like it goes. Of course, you must be very precise here. The combos are never easy.
Oh yeah. Now it's
Now it's a little bit much more difficult, right? It's possible to cheat for pocket, but you must do with the right speed, and not so easy.
Well, the one thing that get position for the 3, that's what makes it better, is that you can cheat it, and you're going right to the 3. So that was good.
Well, yeah, April cannot reach the cue ball so fast, so she will need a mechanical bridge, and this is all stuff. The snooker players are right comfortable with the mechanical bridges because the table is so big, but pool players, they better go left-handed or cue extension or whatever, but just not mechanical bridge.
Yeah, April's pretty nimble with the bridge and has good form with it. We had one of our boys yesterday use it underhanded and then messed up everything. I was a little disappointed that he didn't have a better command of the bridge. It's a necessary part of the sport. So April's looking good here. He would set a great tone for the rest of the day if April could go ahead and get these 3 balls, get a win in here, a decisive win. Good shot. Now here, she needs to draw back, and if I was to be critical at all of April Thomas, which I'd be reluctant because she's like my daughter, but she sometimes lunges at this, and you'll see her head kind of move forward to get a little extra power here. See the head pop right at the end, and it she gets away with it because her timing is good with it, but it's not great form. All right, match ball here.
So the bottom line, the April played as we expected her to play. So it was the April we used to see. So a great point for Team USA. Of course, it's just the 1 point. We still have a lot of matches ahead. And after the short break, the mixed doubles match will be here. So
Lucas and Ariana for us. I don't know who for you.
And Daria with Victor Zelinsky. Daria Sinchuk with Victor Zelinsky. So we will be back in the short. Don't leave us. Just stay with us. Yeah, yes, I think we're still.
Do you want me to help you here?
Well, yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
really, you know, to be alone here is kind
Oh,
of
it's
struggle.
tough. No, it's really tough. Yeah, I'm aware of that too. Good.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Match 2 is going to start in a minute. We have mixed doubles coming up. I said the points were coming. April Larsson has ensured the USA are still in this match, winning emphatically 6-1 against Nguyen. So now we have the mixed doubles. Please give a big hand for Team USA, Ariana Lynch and Lucas Fracasso-Werner. And Team Europe, please give a big hand for Daria Siranchuk and Viktor Zelinsky. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, match number 9. Race to 11 overall score for the teams.
USA.
Yeah.
That's a good result.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. What's her name?
Daria Siranchuk.
Is it D-A-R-I-A, Daria?
Yeah, Daria.
okay.
Daria. Siranchuk. I mean, Siranchuk maybe is a little bit.
Siranchuk.
Try to pronounce it Siranchuk. Well, Daria is good.
Siranchuk. Okay, yeah.
Siranchuk. Okay, and we are back. Thomas Brickmanis and Mark Wilson, the coaches of both teams, today in the booth. So, Mark, very important point for Team USA. That is for sure the energy booster, right?
Oh boy, you're not just a kid. Daria really got into the draw on that one, and she's smiling. But yeah, we needed that psychologically, and we have some really good players coming up today. But if you start off on the wrong foot yet again, and then we didn't have a good history last year, and we start to things compound on you, and naturally we're up against two great players here, Victor and Daria. Victor's got the greatest break I've ever seen. And yesterday I was watching, he made 2 or 3 balls every single time and got out from the break a bunch of times. Boy, that's hard to beat.
For sure, he is one of the most talented kids in his generation. So, but you know, the thing about it is mixed doubles. I mean, it's all about the girl, actually, right? The team is probably as strong as the girl is. So.
True, and with Victor, he's got that leverage. He's very, very tall, and so I think. But if he's got phenomenal shot making ability, tremendous break, but if he has maybe his position play is not great, and that will not help his partner. If he relies on his shot making too often, which he generally comes through anyway. But he will get caught with putting her in the same spot. That being said, they take the lead 1-0 here over Team USA. Ariana tried a billiard on the 1-5 ball, got in behind it and scratched.
And you see a good chemistry in Team Europe here. It's like Victor and Daria, we both, Daria is from Ukraine, but she's studying in Poland, so she speaks fluently Polish. So sometimes we could communicate in Polish, although the team language is English.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that spirit within the team is very important. It's like I've seen yesterday in the girls' doubles, but the Ariana and April wasn't actually communicating so much between them, between the girls. And I mean, this is really important to trust the other player, to feel the other player, especially in doubles.
Yeah, we sometimes try to emphasize not so much communication, just so you know. And part of it is the shot clock, but also all these kids are good. And what happens is when you start communicating, then you start trying to play position to make it easier for your opponent rather than play the right shot. And then you're trying to do something that's not your game. And so I try to say it like this. Look, you're a great player. Play the shot like you would for yourself. And if you don't, if failing that, don't apologize. The other person's a great player that's going to make the shot for you anyway. And just learn to trust and rely on, because if you try to supersede what you normally do, it takes you right out of your game, and there's no rhythm to it, and it also looks amateurish as well. Look at this nice break and run out they got going on here. And Daria made a heck of a shot her last time. She just needs to roll this in. Good job there.
Yeah, she seems relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Her stroke is soft, and that means she feels comfortable. She was a little bit nervous yesterday. She was the first to start the competition.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "I cannot make a ball," and everyone is watching, and
Yeah.
that is when the kids start to think about the things from outside,
Yeah.
instead of actually concentrating on the shot of this one ball.
Well, you make a great point there. It's easy to get self-conscious and worry about the results. So quality break and run out there. This all stemmed from that missed carom shot in the opening shot of rack number 1. It's now 2-0. Europe over US.
That is a quick rack, right?
Yeah.
Nothing was too complicated. We played perfectly, and now Team USA must respond. And of course, when you feel that you must do something, it's extra pressure, and
Mm-hmm.
extra pressure is never good.
All right. Now, the question is, can Ariana complete a legal break? Man, she does not have the power that Lucas does. Lucas has a tremendous power, and naturally Victor, tremendous power. The key for her is that she hits some square to get ball action here. She cannot afford a glancing blow, and if she gets a fast backswing, that's when that happens. Pretty good, pretty good. No, but I still don't think it's enough to be legal.
Yeah, first of all, it's a dry break, and then
No,
it's
she
not-
made wall.
Oh, she made one ball, so it's not legal break. Yeah,
Yeah, the wing ball shot right in. I was really proud of that, and she hit him square, but she just didn't quite get enough back there. And that happens even with pro players sometimes too. They'll make two balls and not get one across the head string. Boy, what a good shot that was by Daria.
So, Mark, just using the occasion, I would like to shoot another question for you. You know, we all watched Mosconi. It was like tremendous show of pool, and the Team USA won the second year in a row. What characteristics do you think were important to get the second win? Because most of the Europeans thought, okay, they did it once. Maybe it was a little bit luck involved. So on the paper, we are stronger. And I know it will be like not a big advantage, but in the end, Europe will win. And it turned out it was totally opposite.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about all this?
I don't think that Europe was overconfident. I don't think it was cockiness, but I think that one, Niels did not play like Niels Fine. Number one, he shot. I got the stats this morning from that, and he shot under 700, I believe, or right at 700. I can tell you if you give me just one moment. It was real interesting, the stats. So for the whole event, Niels played 769. That's not Niels. Now Filler, on the other hand, outstanding, 935, and that came way down on that match last night. He was over 950 yesterday.
Can you actually introduce the stats? This is this
Sure.
Fargo?
No, these
stats?
are. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, these are AccuStats, which are
This is
far
AccuStats.
more accurate. Yeah, they don't just take match wins. They take into how many errors that you made per ball that you pocketed. And so a missed shot, a missed kick, a bad safety, and what constitutes a bad safety is when someone makes a ball from your safety, a scratch on the break.
So this is like your reflection of effectiveness, right, of a game.
It's
Like,
the most complete, thorough set of stats you can have is AccuStats. I
so
mean,
this is really interesting, and I'm pretty sure we spectators will find it interesting as well.
Okay.
So can
lem-
you just introduce them?
Okay, so AccuStats, and this the statistical, it's like the batting average of pool. And so just to give you, after day 4, here's what happened. There was, naturally the U.S. won 11-8, but the game count, okay, was 66 games won for the U.S., only 65 for Europe, one game apart. But largely that was because of Filler winning all those matches 5-0, 5-1. And so now this is where it's really telling. Total balls pocketed, okay. Total balls pocketed is, I'm on the wrong page here, after day 4. Yeah, 616 for the U.S., 517 for Europe.
Wow,
99 balls.
that is a big difference.
Huge difference,
You know,
yes.
In a 9 ball, you can pocket with 1 ball, the 9 ball, and still win, right?
Right.
Well, the other guy pockets with the first 8, of course. But still, I think the stats reflect that the Team USA were potting more balls.
Mm-hmm. And that's not been the case for the last number of years. Usually the biggest, when you have a differential of that amount, 99 balls, that's 11 9-ball racks. So you can imagine that means 11 games of difference in that on average. Okay, so it's a big difference in this match.
The next line is very interesting. The misses.
The misses, yeah. The U.S. missed 42 times, while Europe only missed 28 shots. Okay, so the big differential there, but the ball count made up for so much of it. So apparently the U.S. must have missed most of the time on the 7, 8, or 9 when they did miss, rather than give up a whole rack.
It also says that U.S. tends to be more aggressive instead of playing safe. From what I understand here, they try to pocket, even more difficult balls, while the Europeans probably try to play safe. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe this actually reflects this moment.
You could easily be right, but this is also a small sample size. So if we did this over weeks of time, then we could quantify whether you're right or wrong for sure. The scratches on the break was equal 4-4. The missed kick shots, the U.S. Were at one point they were down 7-0 on this. It ended up being 8-4. U.S. missed more kicks. But the biggest thing was the bad safeties. The Europeans had 16 bad safeties.
While we were talking, Team USA just made a nice run out. So
Okay, so the bad safeties, the Europeans had 8 more bad safeties, and that means that the U.S. pocketed the ball from the safety. So a lot of times out of 8 differential there, probably 6 of them at least turned into wins. And then the bad position play, Europeans were worse at that also by enough of a margin. The total TPA, team TPA, which is total performance average, Europe was 860. The U.S. was 863, so very, very close.
very close.
Yeah,
Both
very
teams
close.
were very close. So.
And then when you look at the individual ones, Skylar Woodward led Team USA and played at 889. Now, 0.889 represents just over 1 mistake per 10 balls pocketed. And so 900 is kind of world class, 850's pro level. Okay, and just to give you an idea. And under this format with the crowd and everything, it probably comes down just a little bit. So 889, very respectable. Bergman was right there, 873. And then Shane Van Boning, 869. And then Billy Thorpe played 859, which came way up from the last day's match against Shaw. But Steyer, under 800, which is, 52 points below pro average. Then when you look over here, Filler was at 935, the only player over 900.
So the best of all of them, right?
Oh, by far. Yeah. Yeah, that's the 90. So he's 46 points ahead of the next best player. Then you had Kachi, 858, respectable. Shaw, 849, great. Kazakis, 820, not so good. And then Niels at 769. Definitely, it suggests that, he did not play his game at all. He'd normally be in the 870s, maybe even higher. He's played 900 quite often. He's 4-time Mosconi Cup MVP.
So with stats like that, I mean, the pool is much closer to the sport as we used to see. Every other sports like NBA or tennis have always the stats you can
Yes.
see, compare. But to be honest, I've never seen. What a terrific kick shot just Lucas made here.
Yeah.
And I mean, for sure, the pool needs like this, something like this, just to immediate stats, so that you can compare
Right.
the numbers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, there's no sport that doesn't offer all that except for pool up until now. But it's labor intensive to produce, and it takes an expert to do it.
Because in pool you always hear, "Oh, he was better." Like,
Right.
what does it mean better?
Right,
At
right.
what point? And I mean, when you see the numbers, you can actually understand. Okay, that there's slight difference, and as you
Yeah.
see, we Americans were just by a bit better.
Yeah.
And of course, compared with other factors, I mean, there was probably some better strategy in lineup from Team USA, in my opinion, which helped the team to be successful this year. Okay, that is really interesting. I am pretty sure the spectators find that interesting too. Is it possible to find those stats somewhere on the net?
If you were to go to accustats.com, but it has to be accu-stats.com because there's some other company that has accustats.com. So it's accu-stats.com, and it'll tell you how to produce them. It has a thing you can print off. It gives you samples, and really interesting. And if you take a little time to do it, it will tangibly help your game. And I was skeptical about it to begin with. And these came out in about 1980, and I used to be one of their original statisticians. And but today, it's like we're so backward. We definitely need that type thing. So the other thing with AccuStats, it didn't start off to be a video production company. That was ended up he quit training people and just used video cameras. And then he would do all the stats at night in the hotel room by himself. And but they never sold very good. And so then one day a guy says, "Hey, you filmed my match yesterday on a VCR tape. What are you going to do with that?" And he said, "I'm just getting ready to record over it." And he said, "Well, I'll pay you $10 for it." And thus began Accustat Video Productions that took off, and he got multiple camera and commentary and has a elaborate setup, really a TV production quality that he brings these days. So if you want to watch high quality pool with good commentary, you go there. Also, they have a Vimeo thing that you can subscribe to and watch pool matches from back in the 80s.
Oh yeah, really interesting. And I just see the team USA are doing really comfortable here. They're just running another rack. Let's see how it ends.
Good
But,
shot, Lucas.
I was really impressed by Ariana's gameplay. She's still very young, 16. Her first appearance, probably I was expecting for her to to be very nervous. But she won the first point for USA. And she did tremendous shots. So can you tell me more about Ariana?
Sure. I only met her just at our training camp, and she was selected. And I must say that, by far the least experienced player there. But she's trying so hard to keep up, and she's a very bright girl. And so she didn't want to let the others down, but she also felt immense pressure to try to, because she doesn't have the experience that many of these, like Lucas, he's a pro-level player. I mean, you can see he's our Fedor Gorst, if you will. And so we paired her up with him today, with the idea that she had a good day yesterday, and then to have him, like if she plays a little bit of a bad position, he can make something happen, like you saw in that wreck where she left him a wrong side of the 3 combination, but he can make it and get her back in line, and that emboldens her and gives her additional confidence going forward when she has to play without that help. So, but she's bright and she worked hard. When she came here, I was watching her warm up. And I go, "My goodness, you've practiced hard since I saw you a month ago." And she goes, "I've practiced every single thing you told me." But she didn't have to tell me. I could see it in her delivery, that she had put time into it. And then I said to her, I go, "You've never had any B's on your report card, have you?" And she said, "Oh, no." So that's the kind of girl she is. And we all love her. And she wants to do well. She's one of those that's kind of a perfectionist and maybe a little bit artistic, like, I'm sure, that's how I know she has good grades in school. She's just going to apply herself to whatever it is she does and learn to excel. And then Lucas, on the other hand, I just met him too. And I can't say enough good things about that kid's game. Boy, is he ever focused. I mean, professional pool is definitely his future, and that's what he wants, and you can see it, and he works hard and takes it very seriously.
Oh yeah, I have been watching Lucas in Cyprus, so I was really impressed by the level of decisions, and he was really good playing against Jonas Zuto from Spain, the current champion of juniors, and in the loser qualification match, which ended 0-0, and only maybe bad safety play from Lucas in the end decided the outcome of the match. So. But nevertheless, I mean, he's probably one of the strongest in Team USA. Right?
And for me, I think he's the strongest player we have. The most, and he's in his pool years. He's older. I kind of think of him as almost like 35 years old, even though he's 19 in pool, because he makes those type decisions that a very experienced player would make. Nice shot there as Victor's left a combination 3-9.
Oh yeah, that's a good chance. Let's see if Daria can make it, of course.
Good shot. And I think that Daria being paired with Victor is also emboldening her confidence too. You know?
Yeah. You can see that she's encouraged by.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting dynamic because she doesn't want to let Victor down, and she totally respects his game, no doubt. And then conversely, Ariana feels the same way with Lucas. So we both made the same decision there, Thomas.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I allowed girls to choose the partner for the game, so I want my philosophy is for kids to make more decisions their own as possible. Well, of course, if decision is needed and they cannot choose, when I step in and
Yeah.
help them.
Well, that's interesting. I suppose too, though, they get a little bit more acquainted because they have matches, the European junior tournaments that they've gone to, where our kids are just a hodgepodge of kids thrown together for a training camp a month ago, and that was 3 days, and then the first time we saw each other again was here. So.
Oh yeah, I told that many times before. So those kids need to go through fire and ice to get here. Like first of all, through the national championships, where they in different countries, of course, where are different competition, but still they need to be better in their own countries. And then European championships, it's tremendous event with a lot of good players participating, and really hard to become a European champion. It's like 10 or 12 guys always aiming for this title, and it depends on the draw. It's very long. It's like 8 days long. So kids playing pool non-stop from 9 till 10 p.m. They get tired. You know, it's very important how they sleep, and you know, kids, they like to run around and eat chips and chocolate and do things you shouldn't do. Wow.
What a great shot.
That is another combination.
Yeah.
So good job by Team Europe.
Couple quick wins there.
So to get on European team, both for the World Championships and for the ACC, is really big. So I mean, they have proven that they are best of the best to get here. Of course, when they are here, it's not so much pressure. We already done. They've seen it before. They played really hard matches, so that's why I'm more relaxed. And for them, it's nothing so big.
Yeah.
Yeah. The World Championships a week ago was sort of a important event for men, and me was playing and didn't finish well because it was too much pressure. He had chances, but she didn't use them. Sanyin was aiming to win the World Championships and played the poor final, ended second. Like Christian Ferlich also could end at least in the medal, but lost to Sanyin in quarterfinal. So we're used to tension. We're used to high quality pool. We know we're not allowed to do a lot of mistakes. So.
And hopefully we're going to get that way too. That's the objective. I was just talking about today that we can definitely. Oh man, that was hard luck there. Hit that so square, it followed it in. That we were talking about today. That if we can see growth from last year, and the kids are finding some inspiration because there's some real care put into this, but we still need so much more. And I was talking about if we had a juniors tournament series of some kind, or just 5 or 6 events only, at least something, So maybe that's coming, and that's really, that would inspire practice and maybe a bit more discipline. And like you're saying, these kids are playing 8 days, 8 or 9 hours a day, and yes, they're kids, so chocolate and chips is important too. But nevertheless, they're exposed to it. Our kids are very seldom exposed to it. What that would be. And as soon as they are, just a good example, just the growth of this team in 1 month's time. You can see if you did that over a longer period of time, we could be, rivals, serious threats to Europe.
Okay, a good attempt, unfortunately. For me, the ball seems frozen, so Victor probably tried to play safe here.
Yeah, the referee put his hand over it. I don't know how he declared it, but yeah, good camera work there. Good shot. Was able to just get by the 8. While the score favors Europe in this set, it hasn't been the fault of our players not performing at their level. It's just been the hit there. It's just been the distribution of the balls didn't favor us, but we're actually performing, at our top level. That this is what we are. That was a very good shot there by Ariana.
Yeah, that is a good resave. And of course, it left Daria with a really tough shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to play safe, and it's hard to make the offensive shot here. Nice hit. Good speed. Got the separation here, and she's gonna find some good fortune. Yep. And that's how things work when you're playing well. Good breaks happen, and now this is a series. There's a couple combinations on the 9, and now there she missed the shot that she was intending, but had the right speed that it could find another pocket. It did, and fell perfect on the 6. That fell in there kind of funny. Might have even got on the point. It's hard to tell, but we'll know momentarily.
Well, it seems like we cue ball is just behind the nose of the pocket. So maybe a little bit too good. But Victor likes challenges. So the kids yesterday were training a lot of, trick type shots like jump shots, and so he can now demonstrate what he can do. Maybe he can just curve it. No.
Oh, he was playing safe. Okay. Pretty good job, too, for where he was at.
That is. And if Lucas is on a table now, he can pocket this ball. It's not easy, but it's...
You will need the bridge.
Yeah, it's still possible. Well, safety options here. Of course possible, but not easy. That's a very important moment. And for the viewers, I will just remind that we have 3 sessions of pool. This is the morning session, and after some break we will have the afternoon session, and then in evening there is a 3rd session. So the whole day of fantastic pool here.
Absolutely terrific shot there with the bridge. And look at that.
Okay, and
Found the 9 ball pretty nice here. Now this is where Ariana sometimes struggles too. She gets just a little quick, and if you have that fast backswing, that makes that transition that's so fragile to get into the foreswing. You can, if you're real smooth, you almost can't miss, and if you get jerky, it's very easy to miss. Pretty smooth.
she's okay.
Good shot.
Yeah, she is making important shots, so she's not missing them.
Mm-hmm.
It's really amazing. And for all our viewers, I just want to remind you that you can actually ask questions to Mark and me, and if you have any question, just feel free to post it on the EPBF's Facebook page in the comment area.
I have a question. Talk a little bit about your training with Europe. I mean, do you teach stroke mechanics, or do you allow them to have other coaches, or how do they go about developing?
Well, there's a difference between you and me. I'm actually not coaching Team Europe. I'm more like a team leader, just taking care of them. Of course, I am a coach, but I am not working directly with those young people. So each of them has the history with his or her own coach, of course, starting from very small. So like Daria has a good coach in Ukraine, and Victor has probably had some coaching in Poland, and same comes with Christian Fröhlich and his coach, and this Günther Geisner, who is the same. He used to be a coach for Joshua Filler, so
Yeah.
they're very good coach. And in Europe, since we are not the one country, it's like different countries, of course. We different federations, the local federations take care of the youth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different story. Here, of course, I have just a few days, try to glue team together,
Mm-hmm.
to get them together as a team, which is not always easy. And of course, they are experienced enough to help themselves with the game, with the technique. Of course, if needed, I can tell a few things, but I try to allow them to find their rhythm in game itself. And just same with World Championships. We had like 13 players with us. We were 2 coaches from Europe, Gabi Hammer from Germany and me. And for those who needed some help, of course, we came and we talked and we tried to help them during timeout. But some players had their own coaches together. So who, of course, in that case, we just left those teams do their job. So it turned out, just a few words from me to Jonas Duta, who was alone, and he was really, really struggling in the first match. I just tried to calm him a little bit and tried to play slower, tried to think more. During the tournament, our connection increased, and the end result was perfect. He became the world championship. So I didn't need to do anything in the end; it was already done. So just sometimes you just need to be near them. The kids can help themselves a lot. But if they are alone, they don't feel good. So they just need someone to be near. It's like parenting, right?
Yep. With our kids, it's coaching. The quality coaching is so largely unavailable, and I was blessed and lucky by happenstance to run into the right guy when I was 18, and I was not just I was sub horrible, as a player, just beginning, but they taught me what good stroke mechanics can do for you and why there's value in it, and I appreciated it and listened. And then, now many years later, still trying to perfect my own, but nonetheless, I've put a lot of time and effort into it. And so I can share with these kids, 46 years of pool experience.
Of course, the pool is a game you can self-taught, right? But with the coach, it's always much faster and easier to get things done properly. So
good shot.
Just
Bad luck.
A little bit unlucky.
Yep.
Well, we smile on faces. Seems everything is okay. No worries here.
We have, on our team, we have one rule, or our number one rule, is that you have to have fun, because this is a super hard challenge, and you're going to have to learn to win with your B game sometimes. You don't always get to play your best game. And just all we emphasize is we insist that you try to use proper stroke mechanics, because that's what will grow you long term. So short term setbacks, that's part of the growing experience, but we have to have a point of emphasis, and that happens to be technique. Look at Victor. This is typical of him. He's a sophisticated offensive player that is way beyond his years, and then this part of the game, not his strength at all.
Victor is sometimes underperforming, and he actually had really good chances to become a world champion 4 years ago in Shanghai. He did something like here in the deciding match, in Hill match, which decides if you go to the final or stay in the semi-final. If you play that, something like this. It is poor decision to quick decision in the really easy situation. So he has so to say, the problem of playing all the time with the same concentration or same respect to the game. If he sees the really hard shot, then he can play with more concentration and more attitude. And when he makes a shot, if the shot is too easy, he thinks, with the left hand, small finger, I can make it.
Great point.
And of course, it backfires at some point. So I've seen Victor since he was 12 or 11 maybe, and I've seen him grow. I've seen him winning and losing, and being mad and being happy. So I know this kid a little bit. But anyway, like I said, he is one of the most talented guys in his generation. There are a few more, but no doubt he is like
Oh yeah.
big figure, and he was able to win the Euro Tour when he was 16 or 15 probably, so like really young. And that final he won like 9-1 or something, so it was one-way show.
Yeah.
Of course, this year is not really good for him. He's not finishing so high in Euro Tours, so there are some small tension between him and Polish Federation, which doesn't help, and I just hope it ends, because this is a small sport and we need to be constructive in the end, not fighting each other.
Right.
So
Well, I couldn't be more impressed with his talent. That's for sure. I recognized it right off. That this kid, he's got a huge upside in the sport. He's kind of got some of that Joshua Filler. He's just good, you know. And if he can work at it and apply himself and maybe be a little bit more focused on the shots that he thinks are routine, he will be tough to beat for anybody.
well, what is really interesting, but actually Eklund Kachi is the same age as Victor. So but he looks more mature, so everybody thinks Kachi is very,
35.
yeah, something, but in reality he is really young.
20. He's,
Yeah.
and he
So
looks
yeah,
35.
maybe 1 year. So Victor probably 1 year younger or something.
Missed combination. And that part of it, the part of Ariana's game is not quite as developed as some of those little odd shots like that. She just doesn't have the exposure or experience to play them. She'll get onto it. I hear Daria a little bit loose on the safety part of this.
Okay, this is important moment for Team USA. The table is open.
Good
And a
shot.
nice shot by
Yeah.
Lucas.
I love Ariana's stance. It's a kind of an open type of a stance, and it's very still, and that really allows her to get the cue ball through the cue ball well. She left the ball a little bit short here. Lucas is going to have the cue ball. It looks like approach the 9 ball here, and then getting on the 8 is not easy. Good shot there by Lucas. He was able to just rub the 9 ball lightly with some left side spin to bring the cue ball down by the 8. Now this is, I don't know.
It was very good the problem identification. So he saw the problem and he made the right decision. So
Yeah.
This is what we young players sometimes we don't. We're just thinking about making a shot. Well, this I don't like. Left the butt is not a good idea. Sometimes it.
Right. Oh, good job there.
Okay.
Ariana finished her stroke and stayed still, and I agree with you. She fell so flat on the 8, though. She wanted to try to drive it up table. And a pretty big win for us. Not because we're going to win the match, but just because it was a good confidence builder for.
Oh yeah, that is really important. Yeah, we got a chance and we made it. Like yesterday, we see a few moments when the chances were in the favor and
Right.
players simply couldn't.
Right.
We take them. So it's of course Makil was ahead in his match against Jan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened, but he can make mostly any ball, but he missed that 9 ball.
Yeah. Pressure, hard shot. You
Of
know, it
course,
was not an easy shot.
we
so.
don't need to remind him about it because he needs to play today, but yeah. Sometimes it's important to finish a match if you have a chance. If you just let him go, it's not good.
He's current world champ, but maybe not as experienced as that might suggest too. You know, and we saw a little inexperience from him yesterday.
Yeah, in my humble opinion, it's like I see some differences in technique. Like Makil, for example, using draw shot way too often in the moments where you can play simple,
Yeah.
follow. So it says that you can still find some differences in technique. Like Ricky, for example, also trying to play too aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Like it reminds me of Strickland's game.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful pool on a big pockets. That's a
Right.
different story. Now the tables are a little bit tighter, and speed control is much more important. So maybe it's not so important to make pool look so effective, right? So attractive to the crowd, but maybe it's sometimes better to play just
Percentage.
percentages, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. But also, some of that goes hand in hand with inexperience, and some of these kids haven't had that much. So it's hard to. You don't want to corral them and make them so cautious that they forget to play. Because at some point you are going to have to. But yeah. But this is how you get experience, and this is it's a funny thing. You ever heard this phrase? The lesson comes after the test. So you needed the lesson before the test, but you learned from it. So that's kind of, we're in that trial by fire type of a circumstance here.
Yeah, I know we have a saying, but you only learn by losing. So it's when you learn. When you learn, you actually don't learn anything. So
if you have the right attitude, because if you have ego and then deny, you're not honest, then you don't learn there either. So or it takes a lot longer. But if you can be honest, yeah, for sure. Look at this shot.
that is
Lucas.
a really hard shot for him. Balls were frozen, so he didn't have much options. He can play free rails kick shot. At least try to play it. Instead, he tried, to curve the ball around, which was really difficult.
And then bend it back, yeah. He does have a lot of those tools to use, and maybe right now while he's young, he sometimes tries to utilize them at the appropriate time. But the sky is pretty high for him. I know one thing. I know he would love the chance to play Victor straight up, just because I know he has supreme respect for him, and he would love that opportunity to test himself against the best. Lucas is all about it. And then he's also very realistic. If Victor was to beat him, he would not discredit that at all, but would take it to growth. But boy, Victor would have his hands full because Lucas would be so serious about it.
Okay, I am proud of Team Europe here. I see that Victor and Daria has a good team. They're just working fine for them. So
I agree. Good camaraderie there. You can kind of feel there's a good bond, and a confidence, and a comfort level. It's funny for me though, like I was saying, that game that Lucas and Ariana won just a moment ago. It's not whether we win this match. That's not what I'm talking about. I can see growth before my eyes. That's what I'm talking about. Why the value of this whole event is justified if you're ever going to grow the sport.
Well, I have been very lucky to travel 4 World Junior Championships in a row. So my first time was in Shanghai in 2015. So if we compare that Team USA from 2015 and now, it's like an absolutely different story. Like a huge increase. And I must say that the team I saw this year in Cyprus really impressed me. It's like
Mm-hmm.
good players, the young players. Yeah, they still have a few years ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
So playing in Evolts helps them to increase.
Yeah.
And like I said before to Shane yesterday, Joe Tate impressed me so much. I was like at one moment
Yeah.
when he beat Andre Emil Gangwat from Norway in quarterfinals, I thought he might win the event. I don't know. Yeah, in the semifinal he lost against a player from Hong Kong. So really impressive.
Yeah, he played for us last year, and he was right on the borderline of getting selected again this year. And that's the thing. As the coaches, there's some tough choices that have to be made, and it's always one of these. There's not necessarily a right or wrong. It's a gray area and so this year, Joey, he's only I think 14 or 15, so he's still got years to come, and his approach and attitude, he's going to be here every year from now on.
I just hope Joy is listening to us now.
He probably, yeah. He loves pool. I sometimes think he might be one of my offspring or something. He's all about it, and he's such a pleasant, respectful kid. Good shot. Victor's got that compact, powerful stroke. He can get plenty of action with a very short swing. Yeah, I think like you're saying, you've seen growth with Team USA. I think it stems from the fact that this is our fourth or fifth year of this. Fourth, right? Fifth.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's been four in the past, and I was not really associated with it until the last 2 years. But I can already see growth just from that, and so you guys set a good standard and gives us something to shoot for. And then now the kids are starting to get it, and if we can just get a little more organized in the U.S., I think it would not be another 2 years maybe we could be completely relevant, where it'd really be a formidable opponent to play. That being said, we still do need 2 focused years here of growth. I really admire Allison Fisher for contributing her time and sacrificing for this, because it's not a paid position and you don't have to do it, and it's not easy work. And then sometimes there's even some of the, kids' attitudes or parents or people get involved that mean well, but sometimes it doesn't come across that good to somebody that's sacrificing for this. So I certainly admire her. She was the one that kind of recruited me to assist her. I didn't really know, nor had I considered it, but I guess in the past there maybe sometimes have been too many coaches also, and so that was confusing and chaotic. So that's one thing we have brought a little bit of stability here. And her and I have very similar views on stroke mechanics. Look at that nice shot. And it's like Daria's game has picked up today considerably.
She is playing much better.
Formidable.
So
high quality match there.
Really
Thomas.
high quality
Yeah.
match, and thank you for being here. You've told so many interesting things. I hope not only me enjoyed it, but also our viewers. So it was Thomas McManus and Mark Wilson with you. And
I would just like to close with one thing. Thank you for having me, and I mean that and really for the audience, and I'm happy to share because I still love pool after all these years. And so as I get older, I would love to see the sport proliferate, and that's always my goal. Is never about something for myself. I don't care. But if you love pool more, or you saw, AccuStats, that's a cool thing, I'm going to check that out or something, then that was a success for me. So thank you very much, and I'm glad everybody tuned in.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay,
that
thank
is
you.
it for today's morning session. We have 3 more matches coming up this afternoon, so please come back and join us at 3 o'clock local time. Goodbye for now.
We don't know all things. What happens in the US. really cool.
Allison back here a little bit too.
Yes, not a little bit, but just she must come here and also, you know.
She'll be happy to. Yeah.
I will be really happy to talk with her.
So that concludes the daytime.
Yeah, this morning
Okay,
time.
so then.
I mean, yeah.
So
we
this
have
afternoon.
This afternoon, yeah.
And for me, you're welcome to call on me anytime. I'll do
Yeah,
it.
sure.
But I also don't want to dominate. I'm not trying to do that either. You know, so
You know,
I'm good with anything. So
thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
That is really interesting.
if it helps this to grow, fantastic.
It really helps.
Yeah.
Sure, you know, it has effect not even in Europe, but here in the USA. I just hope there will be continuation.